Look around at the world today. Everyone is chasing something. The next iPhone, the next promotion, the next relationship, the next lifestyle upgrade. We scroll endlessly, comparing ourselves to others, convincing ourselves that happiness is always one step away. But here's the shocking truth. The very things we cling to are the things that are silently destroying us. Your need for validation makes you weak. Your obsession with possessions makes you a prisoner. Your attachments, whether to people, things, or even your own ego, are the invisible chains that keep you trapped. Meanwhile, monks walk away lightly, smirking at a world drowning in its own desires. Why? Because they've learned the art of freedom. They know that real power doesn't come from holding on. It comes from letting go. In this video, I'm going to share 7 powerful lessons that will show you how attachments bind you and how you can finally break free, just like the monks who walk through life untouchable. Look around at today's world. People are running in circles, always chasing the next upgrade. The newest phone comes out, and suddenly, the old one feels worthless. A neighbor buys a new car, and now yours feels outdated. Social media shows someone with a bigger house, a fancier trip, or a flashier lifestyle, and suddenly, you feel like you're falling behind. But here's the hidden truth. The more you need, the more you suffer. Every desire you add becomes another chain that ties you down. When your happiness depends on what you don't yet have, you'll never feel satisfied, because the moment you get one thing, your mind starts screaming for the next. Monks smirk at this madness because they've stepped outside the game completely. They need almost nothing, yet they lack nothing. Their joy doesn't come from owning, but from being. They walk barefoot, eat simple meals, and carry no luxury, and still, their peace shines brighter than most billionaires. Now imagine this. What if you could reach a state where even if everything you owned was stripped away, your car, your money, your possessions, you'd still wake up calm, content, and unshaken? That's not weakness. That's real power, because true freedom isn't having more. It's needing less. In today's world, power isn't always about money, status, or influence. It's about control. But most people don't realize they've given away their control. Think about it. How often do you feel anxious waiting for someone to text back? How often do you post something online and then keep checking how many likes it gets? How many decisions in your day are shaped by what others might think of you? This is the trap of attachment. You've tied your mood, your self-worth, and your peace to the reactions of other people. And when they don't give you what you expect, you feel disappointed, ignored, even invisible. That's not freedom. That's slavery. But monks? They smirk because they're free from this invisible leash? They've mastered detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop needing. It means you can give love without begging for it in return. You can work hard without being obsessed with the outcome. You can walk into a room without needing to impress anyone. In today's noisy world, detachment is the ultimate power move. Because the moment you stop needing constant validation, you become unshakable. People notice your calm, your confidence, your presence. And ironically, the very approval you once chased starts to chase you. Monks know this secret. The less you cling, the stronger you become. That's why detachment isn't weakness. It's the highest form of strength. Look at the way we live today. Everything is designed for comfort. With one tap, food arrives at your door. With one click, you can binge an entire season of a show. With one swipe, you can distract yourself from boredom for hours. Life has never been more convenient, yet people have never been weaker, more restless, and more unfulfilled. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Comfort is a trap. The more you depend on it, the softer your mind becomes. Comfort lulls you into laziness. It makes you avoid challenges. It makes even small difficulties feel unbearable. That's why so many people quit at the first sign of struggle. They've been trained to always choose the easy path. But monks smirk at this because they've discovered freedom on the other side of discomfort. They wake up early, sit in long hours of meditation, live with minimal food and clothing, and embrace simplicity instead of luxury. They deliberately step outside of comfort so that nothing in life has the power to weaken them. Now think about this in your own life. The gym feels hard, but so does being out of shape. Waking up early feels tough, but so does sleeping in and wasting your day. Sitting with silence feels uncomfortable, but so does living with constant distraction. The difference? One kind of discomfort builds you. The other destroys you. Monks understand this. When you detach from comfort, you unlock strength most people will never know. Real growth, real discipline, real resilience, they don't live inside comfort zones. They live where your mind tells you, I don't feel like it. And the moment you push past that, you begin to taste true freedom. In modern society, possessions are treated like trophies. People measure their worth by the brand of their shoes, the logo on their phone, or the size of their home. Advertisements whisper, buy this and you'll be happier. Own that and you'll finally matter. And so, millions spend their lives chasing more, believing freedom will arrive when they've collected enough. But the truth is far darker. The more you own, the more you're owned. That shiny new car doesn't just sit in your driveway. It comes with monthly payments, rising insurance costs, and the constant worry of dents or breakdowns. That dream house? It locks you into decades of debt, endless maintenance, and a fear of losing it all if life takes a turn. Even your phone, that little piece of glass in your pocket, commands your attention all day, buzzing, dinging, pulling you away from the present moment. You think you own these things, but in reality, they own you, your time, your money, your peace of mind. They keep you anxious about loss, enslaved by comparison, and forever stuck in the cycle of wanting more. Monks smirk at this madness because they've freed themselves from the trap. With just a robe and a bowl, they walk lighter than billionaires burdened by empires. Their joy is not tied to possessions, but to presence. They understand a secret most people spend their lives avoiding. When you need less, you fear less. Now ask yourself, what would happen if you lost the things you cling to? Your gadgets, your house, your jewelry, your savings. Would your peace vanish with them? For most people, the answer is yes, and that's the proof of their chains. But imagine living with such inner strength that even if every possession was stripped away, you'd still smile, still stand, still be whole. This is why monks embrace simplicity, not because they hate wealth or comfort, but because they refuse to be slaves. They know that true richness is measured not by how much you accumulate, but by how free you are without it. When nothing owns you, you finally discover what it means to own your life. If possessions are chains, then ego is a prison. And in today's world, almost everyone is locked inside it. Think about how much energy people waste on protecting an image. Social media has turned life into a stage where everyone is performing, curating the perfect photo, the perfect caption, the perfect version of themselves that will impress others. Behind the smiles, many are exhausted, insecure, and constantly asking, "Am I enough?" That's the trap of ego. It convinces you that your worth depends on how the world sees you. If people praise you, you feel high. If they criticize you, you collapse. You become addicted to approval, terrified of judgment, and forever comparing yourself to others. This is why so many people today feel anxious, jealous, and restless. Their sense of self is chained to an illusion. Monks smirk because they've seen through this illusion. They understand that ego is just a mask, not the real self. They don't waste their lives chasing titles, proving themselves, or polishing an image. Whether they're honored or ignored, praised or insulted, they remain the same. Why? Because their identity isn't built on opinions. It's rooted in truth. Now look at the world we live in. People buy things they don't need to impress people they don't even like. They argue endlessly online, desperate to prove they're right. They stay stuck in jobs they hate, just so others will respect their status. Ego keeps them running on a treadmill that never ends. And the saddest part? Even when they reach the top, when they get the applause, the fame, the recognition, they still feel empty, because ego is a fire that never stops burning. The monks figured out the only way to win the game of ego is to stop playing it. They don't need to be somebody. They don't need the spotlight. They don't need to prove they're better. That's why they walk so lightly through life, because they're not carrying the heavy baggage of ego. Ask yourself, how much of what you do is driven by ego? The clothes you wear, the things you buy, the way you speak? Are they expressions of your true self? Or are they performances for the audience you're trying to impress? If you stripped away the need for recognition, who would you be? The truth is, letting go of ego doesn't make you smaller. It makes you limitless. When you no longer fear judgment, you can take risks. When you no longer need approval, you can live authentically. When you no longer compare yourself to others, you can finally find peace. Monks smirk at the world's obsession with ego because they know it's the heaviest burden people carry. And the moment you drop it, you walk lighter, freer, and stronger than ever before. Complete me, or without you, I'm nothing. It sounds romantic on the surface, but in reality, it's chains disguised as love. What they're really saying is, I'm dependent on you for my happiness. If you leave, I'll collapse. That's not love. That's fear. That's attachment. And this is why so many modern relationships are fragile. We cling to people out of insecurity. We demand constant reassurance, and we suffocate them with our expectations. Social media makes it worse. Now we measure our relationships through pictures, captions, likes, and public approval. If someone doesn't post about us, we panic. If they don't reply instantly, we spiral. Our sense of worth rises and falls with another person's attention. That's not freedom. That's emotional slavery. Monks smirk because they've understood something deeper. Real love is rooted in detachment, not clinging. Detachment doesn't mean coldness. It doesn't mean indifference. It means giving the other person space to breathe. It means choosing love, not out of fear of being alone, but from fullness within yourself. Think about this. When you're attached, you grip tightly. You try to control, to possess, to hold on. But the tighter you grip, the more things slip away. People feel trapped. Love turns into dependency, and dependency turns into resentment. But when you let go, when you allow love to flow freely without chains, then it becomes beautiful. You no longer say, I need you to complete me. You say, I'm already whole, and I choose to share my wholeness with you. That is love in its purest form. Now look at relationships today. Why do so many fall apart? Because most are based on need, not choice. People seek partners to fill their emptiness, to fix their insecurities, to distract them from loneliness. But no one can carry that weight forever. That's why relationships collapse under pressure, because they were never built on freedom, only on fear. Monks teach the opposite. When you are detached, you bring completeness into a relationship. You don't cling, so you don't suffocate. You don't demand, so you don't resent. You love without fear of loss, because your happiness isn't chained to another human being. And paradoxically, this makes relationships stronger, because real love isn't about ownership, it's about freedom. Imagine being in a relationship where you don't constantly fear abandonment, where you don't measure your worth by how often they text, how much they post, or how loudly they declare their love. Imagine being with someone simply because you both choose each other every single day, not because you need to, but because you want to. That's the kind of love that lasts. Detachment doesn't kill love, it purifies it. It transforms it from desperate clinging into unconditional giving. It allows love to be an act of freedom, not a chain of fear. This is why monks smirk at the world's confusion. While most people cling and break, they've learned the higher truth. The less you cling, the more deeply you can love. From the moment we are born, the world teaches us to attach. Attach to our family name, attach to our possessions, attach to our reputation, attach to success. It tells us, the more you have, the more you are. But here's the brutal truth. Every attachment is a chain, and the tighter you hold, the heavier your prison becomes. Think about it. Why do most people suffer? It's not pain itself that destroys them. It's attachment. You don't suffer just because a relationship ends. You suffer because you can't let go of how you thought it should have been. You don't suffer just because money is lost. You suffer because you're attached to the identity that money gave you. You don't suffer because people criticize you. You suffer because you're attached to their approval. The walls of your prison aren't built of stone. They're built of fear. Fear of losing what you cling to. Fear of change. Fear of living without the things you believe define you. And as long as fear owns you, you will never taste freedom. Monks smirk because they've already escaped. They walk lightly, not because life is easier for them, but because they carry no chains. If a robe tears, they stitch it. If a bowl breaks, they find another. If someone insults them, they let the words fall like dust. Nothing sticks, nothing binds, and because of that, they are free in a way billionaires and kings can only dream of. Now look at today's world. Everyone is busy decorating their prisons. They buy luxury cars to prove they matter, build mansions to show their worth, chase followers to validate their existence. But deep down, they are terrified. Terrified of losing what they've built. Terrified of being forgotten. Terrified of being less in the eyes of others. They look rich, but they live in chains. Here's the secret monks understand. Attachments don't make you rich, they make you poor. The more you cling to, the more you have to fear. But the less you need, the freer you become. When you stop attaching your happiness to things, people, or outcomes, you discover a joy no loss can touch. Freedom doesn't mean owning everything. It means being owned by nothing. Imagine walking through life so light, so unshakable, that even if the ground crumbles beneath you, your peace remains unbroken. That's not fantasy. That's the power of letting go. And here's the question you must ask yourself. What chains are you still carrying? A relationship you know is toxic? A need to prove yourself to the world? A fear of being without money, status, or recognition? These chains will suffocate you until you decide to drop them. Monks smirk because they've discovered what most people refuse to admit. The real prison is not the world. It's the attachments in your mind. And the door has always been open. You only need the courage to step out. At the end of the day, life isn't about how much you collect. It's about how much you can carry in your heart without being chained by it. Attachments may give you comfort for a moment, but they always come with a cost: fear, dependence, and suffering. Monks smirk not because they've renounced life, but because they've mastered it. While the world runs in circles, chasing shadows of happiness in possessions, status, and approval, monks walk away free, untouched, unshaken, unowned. they've realized what most people never dare to face. Freedom isn't found in having more, it's found in needing less. So ask yourself right now, what chains am I still holding on to? The relationship I fear losing? The possessions I can't imagine living without? The approval I keep begging for? Every one of them is a prison key in disguise. And the moment you let go, the moment you release the grip, you'll discover a peace so deep, so unshakable, that nothing in this world can buy it and nothing in this world can take it away. Your attachments bind you. But freedom begins the instant you decide to walk away.